I'm Cray Beaumont Flynn. Welcome to Beyond the Design, a show that gives you a peek behind the curtain of the design industry and shares the stories of those that are the driving force behind it. Well, today we have multi-talented Gunta Sandmeyer with us. Welcome, Gunta, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Cray.
So tell us all about you.
Oh, goodness.
Who is Gunta?
Who is Gunta? Well, let's see, where do I start?
Well, I know you're an interior designer, but
Yes.
you do so much more than just being an interior designer.
I am an interior designer. I also, I do real estate as well. Probably more interior design than real estate these days. I'm a mom. I am originally from Latvia, so I'm an immigrant in the United States. I guess you could say that. Let's see.
So being a mom, what drives you in your profession to be interior designer and all that you do and keep busy and also be a mom?
Well, I guess first of all, I'd like to see for my children to see that I set a good example for them, and to me, setting a good example is probably living I'm going to say busy life, but living a life that has purpose. That would be one thing, and other things that drive me are probably the desire to be creative, to desire to do things, to desire to experience things. So to me, interior design profession is something that kind of gives me all of it, really.
Mm-hmm. So it keeps your creative mind flowing.
Yes, creativity. It also, I think I have figured out how to pay my bills with that. So that's like a really exciting part.
So when you're working on a project, do you have a vision you want to accomplish, or is it more of the creativity that you want to implement into the project?
Well, I think definitely vision, but I want to accomplish, number one. That's the driving force behind it. But then you utilize your creativity to get there. I do have that ability that maybe some people don't. When I walk into a space, of course, we're always laughing when we walk into a space, and we are redesigning it immediately the moment we see it.
Exactly.
We are redesigning it. But I kind of do that. I have to say, I have to confess. But it is absolutely satisfying to me to see new construction, a beautiful home created in a place where there wasn't anything before. I think it's like, when you really think about it, it's amazing. You created something out of nothing.
Right.
Or out of a lot of ideas and a lot of effort from many people. Same thing in the remodels or really any kind of space redesign. You can go into a space that was built in the 70s and it needs major updates, and then 6 months later it's absolutely gorgeous. So to me, that is really, it just gives me so much satisfaction. Honestly, that's what really drives me, I would say.
So what creatively inspires you to test the waters and take risk in your visions and implementing and installing in various projects that you do?
I think I like the challenge. So the more challenging something is, a lot of times that's what drives me. Of course, it's the art. It's I can't deny that I'm not, of course I am inspired by things that I see out there in magazines, online, and everywhere else. That's definitely a big factor. I think that another thing that really drives me is the possibility of what it could be. Mm-hmm. If I see something and I know in my mind it can be so much better, then that's what drives me. But as far as what inspires me, I don't know, did you ask me what inspires me?
Mm-hmm. Well, what inspires you creatively?
Yeah, I would say probably just probably creating something. I don't know that it's really what inspires me, but my goal is to create something that feels nice, that looks nice, that functions well. So, and the creativity and the inspiration can come really from any source,
Right.
from travel, from literature, from something in history, from the museum exhibit. I mean, it could be so many different things. Something I saw 5, 10, 20 years ago sometimes.
Right.
It's, it could be anything. But I think my mind is always working. That's a thing that it's like if I see
Non-stop.
something, it's like, yes, it's hard for me to shut my mind off.
I hear you, sister. I know how that is. So, when you were a little girl in Latvia,
Yes.
is this where you thought? Well, is this where you thought you would be? Is this where you wanted to be at this stage in your life, or did you actually have aspirations to do something else? Or were you always artistic and creative?
I always was fascinated with how other people lived. I don't know why, but I always, like when I look back and I think I was so interested in seeing how people go about their daily life.
Mm-hmm.
So even when you go go walking at 5 or 6 o'clock at night and it's the lights come on in the houses,
Right.
to me it's like really interesting to
Who
see
lives there?
what people
What are they doing?
how they live and what's inside their homes. So that's one thing. But no, I love being creative, but no, I was always a very good student, and I was much more focused on academics, and I don't think that my parents or my family viewed a creative career as anything that should
pay?
be considered.
Yes.
Yes. So, getting a law or business degree was probably something that was encouraged over.
That was their aspirations, yeah.
Well, they really did not have aspirations. I mean, we lived, growing up in Latvia, though, you have to also realize it was Soviet Union. It was 1970s and 80s, and it was Soviet Union.
Very strict
so
and
we
very-
all lived in apartments for the most part. We had, we didn't have anything. At the same time, we had all this opportunity to be creative. I mean, we had people that fixed their own cars, and we had people that made their own clothes, like me. Like when I was about 15, 16, and you go into a store and there's
Right.
nothing fashionable to buy. Well, we still wanted to look good. We still wanted to be interesting.
Correct. Stand out and create your own.
Yeah, exactly. So I did go to the fabric store. I knew how to sew. I knew how to do things. So I absolutely made my own clothes. I made the patterns. I made, everything. So you do have that good part about growing up there, which is that you are able to make things out of nothing, basically.
Well, it kind of motivates you in that, I think, direction, right?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
of course there was no internet, first of all, and secondly, it was Soviet Union, so we had very limited options
Right,
with
right.
what we could do, but still, we still wanted to be creative. We still wanted to express ourselves. We still wanted to dress fashionably. So making custom clothes was something that we did. So to this day, though, that really helps me, I think, in what I do now, is that I know how things are made.
Mm-hmm.
What I find a lot of times really interesting is that a lot of people have no clue how
No,
things are
correct.
made. So whether it's window treatment or pillows or bedding or anything really that comes down to that's actually custom made, I can see the stitching, I can see if it's done right. I know that if it's done, if it has the more of a tailored features in a piece of furniture
Right.
versus non. So you understand all that.
You know what it takes to create something, and
Exactly.
being in upholstery is a good example because you know all the intricacies of making it
Yes.
happen instead of just designing it or providing a essence of the design. You know all the inner workings, which I think is unique. A lot of
Yeah.
designers, I don't think, have that knowledge.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
I went back to take actual formal design classes and all the courses that I needed for design actually in my late 30s. And of course, all the new crop of new young girls that are with me in the classes, they really did not know they did not have any of those skills. So that was kind of interesting to see.
Did you sew by hand or did you use a
No,
machine?
I do both.
Both, wow.
Yeah, I don't do it I don't do much of it these days. I'm too busy, but I certainly could if I needed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it also doesn't intimidate you. When
Right.
you see things, you know that it could be built. Maybe you don't do it yourself. Maybe you have someone who actually specializes in that.
But
and
you
can
have the
do-
knowledge.
But you understand how
Right.
it's put together. Same thing goes with carpentry and everything else.
You have to
So-
know all the intricacies and the details, especially
Yes.
to work with the workrooms when those odd questions come up. I guess.
And also another thing growing up in Latvia, though, we have culture all around us. So, and we had incredibly and creative people all around us, and a lot of it was the kind of traditional crafts that were produced in the region that I come from. But so it was very normal part of life. Being creative, doing things,
Right.
and whether it's arts or crafts or music, any of that.
So how do you incorporate growing up in Latvia into what you do now as a designer and a creative person?
Well, apart from kind of being very practical about things, which I think comes from that.
That's very important. Yeah, because everyone has a budget.
I am super practical. Oh my God.
It's a good
But,
item to
of course, I
have.
know how to stretch every budget there is. Also, that's another thing. But I think, let's see, what would I incorporate? Probably seeing things through the eyes of someone who did not grow up here. Meaning, I don't have those preconceived notions about things.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I don't have judgment about anything in my mind. So when I see it, I don't see the 1970s fridge that my parents had in their house,
Right,
or the
right.
rug
Right.
that a lot of people will see, or the 80s furniture, or
Right.
this is this, or this is that. No, to me, it's all kind of about the same.
Right.
So I don't have any judgments about anything that I see. Of course, I've been here long enough to know the cultural references about all of it. But I don't have this I'm not going to go there,
Right,
or
right.
I'm not going to use
A little bit more
that.
open, I guess.
Yeah, I think I'm much more open-minded because of that.
And more free in your thinking. Even
Yes.
though you were in a Soviet country, you probably have more ability of a free
Yes,
thought
and we
process.
always had so many cultures. Of course, in the United States, you have so many cultures left and right. So I think it gives me the freedom to kind of see, really have open mind.
So do you take risk? You mentioned challenge. You like to be challenged. So do you take risk in your design, you think?
Sometimes with, we are sitting here, which is the brand new home that we just created. So there are limits to risks that I do in new construction, let's say. But if the client says, oh my gosh, yeah, let's do it, and I have a green light, yes, I would do it.
Run for it.
Run for it. I definitely do take risks with myself, I would say, when I do in my own home. Everywhere else, I will take calculated risks. I'm not just going to do probably something
sense.
like off the wall.
Makes sense. Do you
Because it all comes down to money. Someone has to pay for it if
Unfortunately,
it
it
does
always-
not work out. So I
Yeah.
think I'm done paying for things.
always that budget and that value engineering process, which is the two letters that most designers or creatives don't want to hear, is VE. When you do something, because you do stage homes, you do your husband is a builder, correct?
Yes. Uh-huh.
And so do you find more freedom or more ability to be more creative if it's a lifestyle of a client that lives in a home, or something in this where it's almost a blank slate where you're kind of creating an environment for someone to be attracted to?
I like the blank slate.
Yeah.
I do. I do, because it gives me opportunity just to kind of imagine what the person who wants to be in this neighborhood will want, and we create it for them. So with clients, usually well, I was going to say they have idea, but a lot of times they don't have idea at all.
Sometimes you have all these ideas, and sometimes it's
Yeah.
zero. They have no idea whatsoever.
Yeah, so I would say I kind of like creating things without anyone specific in mind, just because it gives me the freedom, and I do what I want, and I don't have to be accountable as long as it sells.
Well, also not be dictated to, or maybe that's not the right word, directed consistently, you know?
Yeah, but then again, I really like working with input from a client to a certain degree. I really enjoy clients that give me green light to do things and trust
Trust your instinct and your I mean, they hire you for a reason. You know, obviously they hire you for a reason, for your professional ability to create environments for them. But sometimes it's hard to be micromanaged as well.
Yes, yes. I
do this, do this, do this. No.
Yes. But most of my clients are not micromanagers, actually. Most of my clients are pretty offhands, which is awesome.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. So when you're in that process, what is your thought process in developing an environment for, be it a clean slate or for a client? Do you gather materials and lay out things and draw, or do you start just grabbing and gravitating towards imagery and fabrics and colors or swatches and such?
I think I start with a feel. What is it gonna feel like? And that could be anything. That could be a mixture of materials. A lot of times in new construction, that's gonna be a mixture, just a combination of tile and woods and paint colors maybe. You know, it could be anything, that jumping off point. I mean, it's different for everyone. If it's a remodel situation, it's gonna be, you know, we take a look at things that are staying, and then then I want to see, okay, where can we take it? In the new construction, though, it's really, we are guided very much with what's selling at the time. And you have to have the pulse on the market, and you know, you make 1, 2, 3 wrong choices and a house sits on the market, and that's not what you want.
No. There goes your budget.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a tricky one. So with new construction, we kind of, with each house though, we try out something new. There's going to be 1 or 2 elements that we try out. And then if it works, great. If it doesn't, it's not big enough change to really offset everything else in the house. So it's not going to impact the sellability of a home.
So do you look at market trends, both on the construction side and the design side, like Pinterest and all the other social media platforms out there, and television? Are you just like, you know, the vision that you want to relay to the potential client?
Well, I do look what's out there all the time. It's a big investment from a building standpoint, from the builder standpoint. It's a risk every time you build a house, a spec home, really, for everyone. You hope that it sells, and if it doesn't, there's no profit.
Oh, you're moving in.
Yeah, so you don't want that. And plus, you know, it's our clients. If the clients see the social media, they are influenced by Pinterest, by House, by Instagram. That's the world that they live in.
True. Yeah.
So I absolutely have to keep abreast of anything that's out there. I wish I could do more just whatever I feel like.
comes to your mind,
yeah, but no, in reality, we are very much influenced by that and very much driven. Like every decision is driven by that. And it's not that it's trendy, or it's not just a blind decision to use something because it's trending. And I actually hate it. I
Right,
hate
right.
that. I honestly, I despise that whole world of what's trending and the whole influencer deal and the whole thing that we see out there.
Yeah, right.
But it's part of our lives.
It's
what do
what's
you do?
Yeah,
That's what drives.
it drives the market,
the
and it drives the
sales.
clients. It's like they find something, that's what they want because they saw it somewhere, or they saw it on television, or the influencer, and it's the it factor. So
I do have to say I haven't watched anything on TV in years. I do use my phone and I look at Instagram and not so much Pinterest. I haven't really been out on the house in a while, but I also work with our clients and our real estate clients and our design clients so closely to where I know what people respond to. So really, that would be, I would say, more than anything, that's what drives me. I would say, I know what they like. I know what feels good to them. And a lot of times it will be the things that's trending.
Right.
That's hot right now, the color schemes. But at the end of the day, I think that the person, when they walk into the home, they respond to the feel of the home. And you have to be smart about using those trends out there.
Very
because, a lot of times I laugh and I say, oh my God, a lot of this new construction that I see left and right is really making my life so much easier. because, when we had the era of beams, people would just put beams, and a lot of times I think the builder would think, okay, the bigger beam, the better.
Right.
Well, no, it's disproportional to the space. So
Visually.
you do have to understand that everything has to have a right scale. Everything has to be in proportion to everything else. The size of beams, the size of door openings, the height of doors, the light fixture sizes, all that actually creates a cocktail that in the end, you don't know why, but it looks good, it feels good, and it works. People walk in and go, oh my God, this is really nice.
You're engaging the senses without them knowing
Exactly.
why they're feeling the way they're feeling.
So for me, that would be, I would say, to go back to your original question, what drives me? I think it's with each space, I would say I want to find that secret combination of things that when put together, they create that something. It's not just flooring, or I'm going to update my colors or update the light fixtures.
It's bits and pieces,
It's a combination of it all that in the end is, the sum is greater than its parts.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think that's how it is with everything in life. But in design, I do it every day. And that's my really big belief that really you have to have that special combination of things. And, it also can be the contrast between something modern and something very traditional. And, I personally like very eclectic environments.
Same.
And so
you want to create that unique environment that's, I guess, experiential environment for, engage the senses. So they don't know why they're feeling the way they're feeling, but it feels like home to them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's kind of, and with new homes, you are creating a background for everything else that's going to come into the home.
Correct.
After people move in. So I always, for new homes, kind of think in terms, okay, what's going to give me the nice neutral? Something that's going to give me something neutral, something that's not going to overpower the space, but just
adaptable to whoever comes in.
Yes.
Yeah. They can walk in and it's like, oh yeah, this feels like me, but it's adaptable to whatever they're bringing into the space as well.
Yeah. Exactly. So for me, it always, I think that people respond to warmer wood tones. I like to kind of have the good mixture of masculine and feminine in the space. I don't like it to be one way or another.
Right,
Of course,
right.
you saw the designer showcase house,
Yes.
and that's ultra feminine. So, and as you can see, that's not my daily life, but that was just kind of a fun thing to do, just because I felt like it.
Well, it's a peaceful room. Yes, I think it has feminine qualities to it.
Yes.
But it's a peaceful room as well. I mean, I would feel relaxed there because it's tranquil.
Yes.
You know, if tranquility has to be deciphered as feminine, then hey, it is what it
Okay,
is.
yeah,
I don't know.
you're right. I think I was thinking of a floral wallpaper, and then you kind of like, okay, yeah.
But if you're sitting in a garden, you know, it's
Yeah.
a tranquil space. So
It is, and that's what we were inspired. It was the springtime and garden and flowers and blue skies, like it is today.
hey, it works. It works. So you work with your husband. I mean, a lot of couples work together in our
Yes.
industry now, which it seems like the it thing to do because you see it all over the place.
Yeah.
So he's a builder. You design, he builds, and then you also sell it. Correct?
Correct.
How's that? I mean, you guys
Well-
ever sleep?
We do. I think we managed to sleep every night. No, and it evolved. It was never meant to be like it.
It was never a set
think
plan.
It
This
was never
is-
like a set plan. No, it just kind of evolved into it. At one point in my life, I decided to go into real estate, leave the corporate world, and I had a great run with that, and up in the mountains of North Carolina, actually. And then we kind of thought it would be always fun and good idea to start our own business. So opportunity arose here in Tulsa. So he is from Tulsa, so we came back to Tulsa to do it. And of course, there are challenges just because, you know, work never leaves the home.
Right,
you know,
right.
doesn't leave the work, and it can get a little too much sometimes. I'm sure he'll tell you the same.
You gotta just like say, you walk in the door, you put your phone down, you turn off the business side of your brain, and just
Yeah, it doesn't
doesn't work that
always
way.
work that way. I wish it did. Well, I don't know, but I wish it did. Sometimes I wish it did, but sometimes it's really good to have that. But I probably would not want to trade it for, well, for me, for any other profession, whether we work together or not. I guess I like so many aspects of it, and he gets to do something that's, you know, his business. I do like to give him space to run the business how he wants to run, and I am definitely doing a lot more things outside of new construction probably in the last 2-3 years. So that's been kind of really interesting and challenging for me personally. I don't know, it's kind of a, you know, it's a creative type of lifestyle.
Yeah,
So it's you know, you own your own business, so everything is intertwined with that.
yeah, exactly. Comes with a large umbrella to cover
Yeah.
a lot of different areas.
But I try to help in any way I can with the new homes, of course, and people come to us because I think a lot of the clients know that they will get the house that's not a builder basic house. They will
Correct.
get the home with nice features. They will get the home with the appropriate features. They will not get a home with funky exterior where
Right.
you drive by and you want to say, what were they thinking? But so it's a big investment for our clients, whether they do the design or they buy a new home. It's a huge investment for them. So it does give us a lot of, you know, it's a big responsibility, really, when you think about it.
Absolutely. Well, they're putting a lot of faith and money into your hands when you're doing a home. So are you guys purely on the residential sector?
On the residential new construction, yes. I have done commercial work. I've just remodeled the big building for somebody in Tulsa, and that was really challenging and really interesting, and I loved it.
You loved it. Well, see.
I loved it, and it wasn't like a, huge
Right.
creative.
So what did you love about it? Because you go back to you like being challenged. So was it just something out of the norm that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it was out of the norm. B, I really liked it. It was enormous, big, huge two-story building.
Really?
So I really thought, if I can do this, what else can I do?
Hey, that's good because it means you're always open to learn and
Yes,
and push yourself and.
I mean, but to see the people come in once it was finished and take their photos in the space and bring their family members in the space and say, this is where we'll be working. I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting.
It's like the rewarding effect afterwards.
It is super rewarding. And to see the space that was, you did not want to touch anything in it. It
Really?
was something from late 70s, early 80s. And, the plastic was that yellow that turns green or white that turns yellow.
Right. Oh, wow.
Old printers and old data lines everywhere. And, it was, it was a little scary, but
So it was a complete gut job?
pretty much.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So we updated every surface in the
Really?
place. Yeah.
How long did it take you?
About 6 months.
That's pretty quick.
8 months.
That's not bad. That's pretty expeditious. Yeah, that's fast. Fast turnaround. And they're moved in now?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good. So what is something that you desire to do that you just, given that you're so busy and multi-talented and multifaceted, besides painting piano, which we'll get to in a second, what's something that you really want to do that you just said, okay, I need to dedicate my time at some point to achieve this and do this?
Professionally?
Professionally, creatively, or just if you want to take a clay class and start, creating pottery, whatever. As a creative person, I guess.
As a creative person, I always thought I would love to learn how to paint.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still think that
There's
I
some
will
blank
do
walls
it.
here.
Well,
Maybe not.
I have done walls. I have repainted like my old houses, like top to bottom, of course. I paint the furniture. I do all kinds of creative projects, but like actually like fine art painting,
Really?
or at least contemporary artwork. I think would be really interesting to at least try out, because I feel like I could do something with it. But of course,
Right.
it's like it could be the case of how you imagine you look when you're dancing and then how you're actually dancing.
Right. True. Well,
Who
good thing there's
knows?
not any music playing right now. I wouldn't show you my
So
dance
that would
skills.
be one thing. I am definitely interested in maybe finding a property to renovate that, like every few years I renovate something. Like I take on a new project for myself. And
That'd be fun.
to me, that's something that's always...
So would you get in there and actually do the work?
No.
Did you? No?
If I can help it.
You'll call your husband?
Well, I would call the contractor.
Yeah.
Like subcontractors, yes. But I'm doing all these really fun projects that just keep my creativity like on the front burner all the
That's
time.
good.
It's I'm working on a downtown condo in Tulsa. There's a property in Riga, Latvia that I'm renovating.
Wow.
And that's been also very interesting, just because you're dealing with contractors and people on the other side of the world.
Right.
There's your some other projects here in Tulsa in residences that I'm kind of probably going to be starting soon. So there's always something, and it just kind of appears. And
That's good. So that means you're busy, you're popular, you have a natural talent where people are knocking on your door. So that's a good problem to have.
yeah, I mean,
Huh?
so far I feel very.
So far, so good. I'm knocking on some wood. And,
Yeah, exactly.
So before we got on the air, you mentioned that you're painting a piano, which is a beautiful piece of the musical instrument. I mean, is this something that you wanted to do, or did when you saw the piece for sale inspired you to paint it?
Well, my train of thought on that was that I wanted to have a piano at my home. I grew up with piano. I played piano for 10, 11, 12 years myself growing up. Now my son is taking piano lessons. And I wanted to have a real piano at home instead of a keyboard, which I tried before, and it just didn't really do anything. It just went out into a donation pile a few months later. So my dilemma was kind of like, okay, do I go through the expense and efforts of figuring out how to buy some kind of baby grand piano or one of those deals, which would also mean kind of redesigning my whole living room and just changing everything around, and I did not want to do that. Or do I just find a piece that I can incorporate already in what I have? And I finally found this, after lots of searches, I found this piano from 1940s that has these beautiful Art Deco lines. And it came with a piano bench that also has these beautiful curved Art Deco sides on it. It's absolutely gorgeous. It did not look that great, but it played well. It sounded great, actually. The people whose home it came from, they're piano players. So they still, they had it and used it in their home. So it wasn't something that just had been sitting somewhere, right, being dilapidated. So, but then, I got into my house and I looked at it and I figured that it's gonna be absolutely perfect in that one spot. And if I could change the finish on it, it's just gonna blend in seamlessly, and you will never know there's a piano because it's not a big, huge thing, but it's a normal sized piano. And now that it's finished, I am so happy. And I heard someone speak about it a while back, and they talked about the values of pianos and how they're and so unless it's something that's really serious music instrument, really the way someone explained to me, it's just there for you to enjoy. So I figured I'm not gonna lose anything by paying it. But I can also create something that fits well, looks amazing, looks great, and I'm crazy like that.
I think musical instruments like that always warm a space and warm a home.
Well, it brings life into a space, because whether it's me, I'll sit down and play something, or my son sits down and plays something, it brings in life into a space.
Yeah, absolutely. So being a designer, and I can probably answer this for you, when you walk into space, you start criticizing or asking yourselves, why this?
It's not criticizing, it's improving.
Okay.
It's a public service.
I'll go with that. All right, improving. All right.
Okay.
Would you be your own worst client?
Well.
And do you change up your home consistently?
I consistently change parts of it, I think, because it's consistently evolving. I see things that I'm really happy, and maybe right now I don't have resources, or I don't have the time to find something, or I just haven't found something for the spot. So I will live with it, and maybe I'll put something there that looks fine. Maybe it's not everything I ever wanted, but it looks fine. So, but then if I come across something that I know will work better in the spot, yeah, I will change it. But, what was the first part of the question?
Because you said you improve something when you walk into a space, because I know some creative designers, when they walk in spaces, they start criticizing but improving. I like that terminology. You improve the space because you see a different vision or different aesthetic. But I asked, would you be your own worst client?
Okay, would I? No, I think I have pretty good idea of what I like and what I don't like. I actually have I have a pretty clear idea of what I like and what I don't like. And I think the older I get, the more clear it becomes.
Yeah.
So I am not, I would probably not be great about timely selections, because like when I do things for myself, I mean, I've had to pick a bathroom vanity for 2 weeks now, and I still haven't done it.
For yourself or
for
for a
myself?
client?
For myself. Yeah, so in that sense, I am not a great client for myself, because I do probably put myself in the last place.
Right. I understand that.
Yeah, so some of that thing just kind of gets pushed to the side, and then at the end of the day, I'm just too tired. So because I've been making 10,000 other decisions for other people or other projects. So
Do you get
I know what I like. And
Oh, that's good. I probably would change my house daily if I could. Do you get the perpetual friends and family? Oh, we got a question. Would you help us with this?
No.
No? You're
Well,
lucky.
sometimes. Sometimes, but with that, I really don't mind. I feel like, okay, nice.
Yeah.
They
If you got the
came to
time,
me.
yeah.
If I have time, I am very busy, so with that, they do need to understand that if I don't text them back today or tomorrow or 3 days from now, it's not that I forgot about it. I just, I have other things to take care of. So that comes with that understanding, I hope. So if they are okay with it, I'm very happy to help.
Right. It is a job. You need to work.
Yeah.
You need to get paid.
Yeah, exactly. And I am helping several of them right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only difference is that, maybe sometimes I will go without responding for a few days longer.
I'm ignoring you. So, given when you started your career in this industry, what have you seen change drastically? Or do you still think we're still designing per basis in clients' directions, or do you think all this other stuff that's happening, TV and Instagram and Pinterest, is kind of muddying the water, I guess?
Yes, it is muddying the water. Well, I think that, I don't know how it was before, because I think as long as I remember, as long as I've been doing this, we've had some sort of social media out there already with home accounts and home furnish, the decorators doing their thing, and Instagram stars doing their thing, and Pinterest boards. I think it's just assumed that in this day and age, people will come to you with a long list of things they've seen somewhere else.
Correct.
But I think what it's really doing, and I don't like it at all, is that people don't think for themselves. I feel like everything is just very much trend driven, like we talked about, and people like what majority of people like. They don't have their own thoughts, or people are afraid to just say, you know what, this is not for me.
Right.
In new home building, of course, you see the, modern farmhouse.
True.
Light exteriors.
Right.
Dark exteriors. And it's beautiful. You pull up Instagram, and there are all these creator accounts with beautiful music and these dreamy spaces, and one is dreamier than the other. But then you kind of have the real life, and
Yeah, you have 4 dogs and 4 kids at home. You don't really. It's not going to work for you.
yeah. So I think I mean, it's just gotten out of control, really.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna say honestly, I think the whole influence, and I really don't like that people are, they don't really examine, they don't really think of what's right for them or what's not. They just kind of go with what's.
It's more, I think, imagery based. It's like, I like this picture. It's like when
Yeah.
someone goes gets their haircut, they want to look like. You're not going to look like that person after you get out of
Well,
there. So is it really going to fit your life, or you just what are you drawn
and
to?
it's the whole cookie cutter
Yeah.
environments that people live in. People want, same things over and over and over again. And of course, maybe when you're redesigning a space, you have a little bit more leeway. So a lot of times with new construction, you have the budgets, of course, but then you're gonna have the, same tile to choose from, and really everyone in town kind of goes to the same supplier to buy things from. And then, of course, if you want to vary out of it, wear out of it, it's gonna be something that much more expensive a lot of times. So it's like, yeah, you don't like it, but then you kind of have to live with it. But I do wish that people injected more of their personality into how they live, really into everything, and how they dress and how they go about their lives and so on, because it's like I see people day in, day out, but they don't think for themselves.
Right. They're over inundated with imagery. It's like, you have to look like this. It's like, no, you have personality, you have character. You need to really determine who you are and how you fit, not.
Yeah, of course you want it to feel current. You want it to feel up to date. You want it to feel fresh. But it takes a little bit more, I think, thinking, a little bit more scheming to get that result than just copying something off the
taking images.
social media.
Yeah. So what's next for Gunta Sandmeyer?
Oh gosh.
Maybe some sleep, more work.
It's a busy week ahead. We have a new intern that started with us, so I probably need to spend more time with her and kind of get her up to speed on some of the things that we do. Of course, we're going into summer, and I have some projects lined up already that will be probably taking up all of my summer. So I probably will not be taking on new things until the fall because I also want to travel. I want to take some time off and, I don't know, go to Latvia, go other places and enjoy summer. And of course, we're in Oklahoma, so go to the lake and enjoy all the good things there. And
the good things in life. So any closing words of wisdom?
Oh, gosh. To you or in general? To anyone.
Well, what's your mantra? What do you tell yourself to be that you're a very busy person? What do you tell yourself every day? It's like, keeps you going.
Well, keep it interesting. Is that a mantra?
It is. I'll go with it.
I like surrounding myself with people that do things, that are thinking people, I would say. And so, I think that creating a beautiful life is another thing that I'm striving to do for myself and for the people that I work with. I like variety. I like interesting things. So I don't know if there's a good one-liner that I could say.
Nah, there's no one-liner.
But I think for everyone else, I would like to, since this is design related, I think that people should not be afraid to kind of think for themselves and really learn what it is that works for them.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And go with it.
And go with it.
Yeah.
Well, that has been wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today and being on the show.
Well, thank you.
It's an honor. And for those that don't know, we've kind of worked together in an essence. We've done a show house, and our rooms are right next to each other. So
It's
it was
been
nice.
absolute pleasure to watch you work.
Oh, the mad scientist, I
Yes.
call it. But I just want to touch on one other thing, because we talked about it over lunch one day, I guess you could call it lunch, about mentoring and teaching your kids. Being a busy mom, that's an important factor for you, that you're teaching them to, that you could not necessarily have it all, but you have to have both components of your life.
Exactly. I'm a big believer in that, whether I do more of it, sometimes a little bit less of it, depending on what's going on in our lives. I do think that it's really helpful to have ways for us as women to express ourselves, to do something that we can pour ourselves into. And I'm not saying in addition to all the family things that we do, because the reality is that women probably do carry most of the household work on their shoulders. So, but it's given me a really good creative outlet and just ability to apply myself, and to kind of also for me to just become a person the person that I am.
That's an important
by
factor.
Doing work.
It's I think a learning lesson that you're teaching your children, that you have a career, you have a passion, you have a drive, and it's an important factor for boys or girls to take from their parents, that
To me, that was important to teach them that
Yeah.
aspect of life. Absolutely.
Well, Gunta, again, thank you for coming on the show today. It's been such a great pleasure.
Well, thank you, Craig. It's
All right.
been a pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely.